Hey, beautiful people, and welcome back to her Blueprints podcast, where we share stories from women engineering tomorrow. And I've got another guest here with me today, another special guest. I know all my guests are special. Yes, they are. And this one is also personal for me because I work with her at Engeni, which is part of the Aegis group in the closure and remediation team. And she's been such a support for me in terms of just new to the company, understanding how things work every day to day, how are things going, like even just in general, like, oh my God, I don't remember this count. Dhriti, what do you think about this? Or like, how do I go about this? Or my, software is crashing. What do I do? So she's kind of been one of my go-to people and very supportive and privileged to have her here with me today. Really welcome to our podcast.
Thank you for having me on your podcast.
Yeah, I like to let people introduce themselves. So you can tell us a bit about who you are, what you do.
Yes, so my name is Dhriti Sharma. I am from India. Came to Australia in 2015, so it's been 10 years since I'm in Australia. In last 10 years, I've done engineering degree, went through multiple jobs, and now I'm working as environmental engineer for mine rehabilitation team. I live in Tombang, so which is like the village of cities of Australia.
No, but I think I assume was. But also she drove 2 hours.
2 hours to be here. Because I love Mercy so much. I love people so much. I'm always up for friendly vibes, good vibes. Now, it's really privileged to be here. I hope my voice can be really helpful to all the women in engineering. Maybe get my story out as well. And yeah, if it's helping somebody, if it's just for fun, yeah, it's all done for it. You guys, let's do it.
All right, that's awesome. Sometimes I get asked things like, or like people will be like, you should have this person on your podcast, or this person, or this person. And I'm like, I know so many incredible women that, I work with every day, who've been part of my journey. And if anything, those are the women that I want to put in front of cover, and if I'm going to sit down with someone for like an hour or two to like talk and let hear their story, it's a good place to start from home.
Absolutely. But yeah, Bertha, you've been in Australia, 10 years. And wow,
Okay, yes, that's a while.
I think I've gone from, I turned 18. And within 3 months, my parents kicked me out of the home. And they're like, go, live. So I started living in Australia. And it's been 10 years. So in 10 years, I've gone from like that teenage phase to like uni phase to working and like paying bills.
Yeah.
Currently.
You said that you've done uni?
Yes.
What do you stand? I imagine it's been a lot of engineering.
Yes.
What drew you to?
It's a funny story. So, as I mentioned, I'm from India. So Asian parents, Asian household, when you grow up there, it's the parents who decide what you will be doing when you grow up. Like having that voice of doing something is there, but that's more so like, that's a hobby. Like, it's not something that you do for the living. Anyways, when I was in 12th standard, I mentioned to my parents that I want to get into like art stuff, architect. There were so many other things I wanted to do, but engineering was not even on my radar. And I had this uncle who was in Australia, and I would have like tuition classes with him. So I will do like maths in there, some science questions and everything. And he's like, look, I think she can understand and comprehend like the other studies from other countries as well. So he was in electric and electronics engineering field. So my family said, because he's there, he can support you, maybe provide you tuition if you need it. And maybe I should go in electric and electronics. I started electric and electronics in University of Southern Queensland. First year, we had all the core courses, but in like first semester was all the core courses. Second semester, we started going into electric and electronics a bit. Mind you, I never changed a single bulb in my entire life before that. There were two instances that something happens there. First one, we had a prep course, and they gave us like whiteboard. Whiteboard, I think it's called. It's a white color board with some holes in it. And you need to attach like diodes and resistors and something to, like the course was to like make the light blink for like few seconds and then turn it off, and it should all do it automatically. And we were meant to go and find our resources. Like, what do we need to put in here for that to work? It was white in color at the beginning, and when I gave the back to professor, it was all black in color because I shorted it so many times. So that was my first instance. And then second time, we were doing these prep courses where it was a rolling thing. It was rolling, and there were all boys in the class. They all got teamed up. They all went and they did their analysis. And meanwhile, professor told me to just do a bit of reading on it. And then he'll go and help me out and take the readings from that electrical thing, whatever it was. Anyways, boys, they finished their work, they got their readings, and then it was their time to do some background reading and stuff. And then I went, and my professor told me, like, to attach this pen-looking thing to that thing and take the reading. And when you have the reading, like, you have to see the graph. When you have the reading, to note the reading down. I went there and he told me how to do first one, and I started it. As soon as I touched something, the entire place went boom.
No, I'm good, Patrick.
It was in like the short circuit. The whole building went off. There was college nearby, Natrilo College. That went off, refectory went off, and they all had to go on a generator for like 1 day, maybe half a day or something like that.
Yeah.
And that made me decide maybe I should not be the one playing with the wires and things. And that's when I looked at other courses in UCU which has the least amount of wires included in them or least amount of softwares. And I came across this environmental engineering, and that's how I got into it. Because I'm like, oh yeah, I love working with science side of like soil mechanics, and love water. I like to know more about hydrology and hydraulics. And then I had a really good professor. She started guiding me as well. And that made me choose. I had options of either going in agriculture or environment. I ended up picking environment for a reason that it was very interesting. Like, I wanted to understand, I wanted to understand about water, hydraulics, had very less softwares in it. So I had to touch things and attach things and ruin something else. So that's my story, how I got into engineering.
You did. That's an interesting story. An interesting curve from trying to
Save the world to, like, I just be a bad person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you were to describe the kind of work that you're doing now to someone who has not heard about it before,
Yes.
how would you explain what you do?
In a very simpler words, I don't think my parents know much about, when I try to explain to them, for them it's like chasing butterflies in the garden. I just tell them I grow trees on some bare soil.
That's fair.
That's all. That's the simplest way for me to tell it to them. Like, oh yeah, I'll go plant some trees.
And yeah, you are good enough. So that's what I'm.
That's environment, that's trees, that's soil, everything is part of it.
Yeah. That's nice. Yeah. If you're like looking back on your experience from like uni and then to work, what were some of the things that kind of shocked you about that transition to actually working in the field?
Yeah, so like when I was in uni, we did a lot of calculations and So like, there were a few courses where we would do calculations and they'll take at least 2 pages to get to the right answer. And that would be this, like, we'll provide that to the professor, whatnot. But then I was like, when are we ever going to do 2 pages of calculation when I go to the field? Like when I start working, will this be required? And it is interesting that when I was questioning like how hydrology works, how rational method or Manning's equations, all that I've done by hand, back then I used to question it. When I started working with engineering, I knew how beneficial it was. I knew like maybe doing it once by hand, by understanding the science behind it or like analysis behind it was very important. And like it just started building up. Like it went from first principles to second to third principle, and having that, I think, base knowledge was really good. Other things were like in uni, we had free time to explore like the background information. Like for example, we would read books and understand why are we doing sewage calculations, for example. We had a public health course, which I really loved. That was a really good course. I think by the end of it, professor was my best friend, but she forgot my name, or she replaced my name with someone else. So I was like, okay, are you giving someone else the marks and the credit? But she was wonderful. She still is wonderful professor. And then we would talk about wherever I'm going to use these calculations and how can I use them. And she told me the actual real case scenario. I still haven't worked there, so it was all about like why we have limit per person, per household or water.
Yeah.
Why does that exist, and how come our sewage like tanks or where the water gets flushed and whatnot? How is that all calculated? How come, like, what is the size behind it? Why it's important to know how much population is living in the town and where the water is going and everything. So it was really interesting. It was back then I used to question, but now I don't question it anymore. I recommend everyone who is in uni to just get their hands on these like the calculations, like understanding why are we doing this, like understanding even tiny little thing as in hydrology. What is the water dropping, like rainfall dropping at some certain slope to some point? Why does it matter? Where did it come from, and how it's gonna affect the actual calculated value? So yeah, I think that's a good point, is to like keep getting into those calculations, understand everything, all the background information. Yeah, it does come in handy.
Yeah, it does. Let's talk a bit about work. And let's start from because like personally I've moved from, like I was in Uganda when I came to Australia, and it's kind of been a struggle finding a place where you feel like you fit in, even like with your teen and stuff.
Yes.
And what has your experience been like in the different jobs that you've been in?
Yeah.
And like the trajectory that you've taken, like has it always been like environmental engineering, or have you also taken on like different kinds of roles?
So when I was in uni, I started this like a vocational work, like work experience thing that I would do for 40 hours for 2 weeks, because that was a visa requirement. Wouldn't go more than that. That was for Department of Agriculture and Fisheries. Funny story there as well. So very first day when I got appointed, it was through references. Like I was working with this professor. She had some PhD students under her, and they were doing research on crown fungus disease on the wheat plant. Although I didn't understand anything back then, and they're like, oh, you can just help us write some numbers and do some Excel calculations, workbooks, and whatnot. And I was like, yeah, that sounds good. That's some experience. Maybe that's what I can count as starting. Oh, that's where my career is starting. But they got me a job with the Department of Ag and Fisheries. No, that was really cool. I got the job. They said it's going to be a hands-on job. I said, well, bring it on. Like, let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. Came from India, so we did everything there. Like, we had the house chores. We were looking after animals there. It was a village lifestyle, so the community and everything. So I don't shy away of getting my hands dirty or many things. So they're like, it's going to be hard work. It's going to be under the sun, maybe 8 hours long, somewhere else. I don't have to drive myself. Someone will drive me. They provide me food and everything too. I was like, well, good deal. Let's go. Let's do it. The very first day when I was there, now this was a project where they were trying to see if they put crops in a certain density, does that kill or empowers the weeds in them? Because they didn't want to spray them.
Density as in how many crops per square?
Per square meter. Yeah, so we had like lines of weird mung beans and oh my gosh, I forgot. But mung beans was the one that I started with. And we had winter crop and the summer crop. The thing with mung beans was that we had to do a hand plantation. They did the planting. The actual planting was with the tractor. Once like it started sprouting out and once the mung bean was out, then we had to make sure in square meter if there are 25 plants or 50 plants. So we had to hand pick them. Because if you go and pick them with a trowel or anything, then you damage the other plant as well. Anyways, we were picking it out by hand, and it was summer day, really hot. I'm just sitting there on my hands and knees, trying to take one plant out. I mean, because it was my first day, I was still getting a hang of it. And then we had a technical director who was there. He has he was in this industry for a long time. Like he was an aged guy too. And he had this really long, we call it was just chipping hoe. Like you go and you just use that while standing and you can chip the weeds out or anything like that. And I heard him say like, oh, she's no good. She's taking so much time to to do this. I think it took over half an hour to get like plants out in 1 square meter box. And as soon as I heard it, I was like, oh my God, what have I become in Australia? I can't even take this out. I was so shocked and so scared. Will I lose my job here? Can I still work? Like everything started going in my hand. And I was like, no, I gotta speed it up. I gotta be very fast in this. And I just went and started taking out. We finished the job that day. We were all sitting in the car. And mind you, that guy is my favorite person now. We both are friends. We share like our family stories and everything. So 2.5 years in that company. But it started with me feeling really not very confident about job. It was my first job in Australia. First time getting paid. And coming from India to here, like usually if I was in India, I would not be earning money up until maybe I was 25 years old, maybe 26. I don't know. That's how things are there.
I think that's pretty similar to Saku.
Yeah. Like getting the opportunity to earn money by your own self with the hard work, I owed it to that job. I was like, I am here day and night. When you need me for like, we even ended up going to Kingaroy away from home for like 2 months. I'm like, let's do it. I'm here. It was one of the best jobs that I did. I met 2 people there who I just love, and they helped me so much. One was Greg Harvey. He's the one who made that comment, and I heard it. And now I tell him that, and I tease him with that. I'm like, remember when you used to say that to me?
Yeah.
And then another one was Adam McKernan. Wonderful people, these both. And they both helped me shape my early career, like what kind of person I was meant to be, or like when I was working and I had some trouble to come and have a chat. It was a very sad bye when I left that job, basically. Every time I meet them now, we're still in contact. Every time I meet them, it's something else. It's like a family vibes. Family feelings. Well, from there, I went to this another job as a project engineer. So that was my first engineering job. When there, it was nothing related to environmental engineering or agriculture. It was all mechanical engineering. And I was like, I'll stick in it. Let's fake it until I can make it. Or like, I know what the hell am I doing in this. When there, I learned so much of SolidWorks software, these mechanical engineers, they use it to design the machines and stuff and whatnot. Do you know neonatal? It's like, when babies are born and if they're premature babies, they get put in the little box with the two little windows. That company used to design those. Yeah. So,
Interesting.
yeah, it was really cool. I have a really cool picture with one of the equipment that they had. So I started working there. Again, like similar feelings. How the hell am I gonna do this work? How can I actually do this? I don't know anything about this. But I always stay there for 9 months. By the end of it, I finished backlog of 10 years of backlog that this company had. They had drawings done in that software, in the SolidWorks software, but that needs to be getting approved by the production team because they're the one constructing those neonatal units. And then if sometimes there'll be something wrong, like maybe we designed it 2 millimeter off. Maybe it's too long. This is not the right path to it. We needed to change them, but I finished a backlog, and I was so happy. I was like, oh, what a relief in this job is. And the drawings pile was this big. We have to finish it up, shred the papers. That the paper scope is neonatal. It was confidential information, like no one can use it or whatever it was. But that was the one job where I knew, like, give me anything in terms of engineering, I think I can do it. So there was that, like, confidence. It came, like, no, I don't care, I can do this. And then I got called in for this engineering job currently that I have. Similar story, the respo. Oh my gosh, I have a trend in these jobs there. So they gave me a call just before Christmas. And I didn't believe it. I thought someone is pulling a prank. I was an international student. International person. Student, took similar visa. Who in their right mind is going to call an international student to give them a job? First. Second, I really didn't apply for that job. So basically, I went into all of the companies and whatever jobs they had open, just applied for it. So in this one, I applied for principal engineer. But no experience. Well, I'm like, I can do this. Let's go. They rejected me, of course. And then after a while, they get me a call just before Christmas. And they're like, hey, we don't have the principal level job, but we're starting a new team and we can offer you a graduate role. And in my head, like, you're right. Like, who is going to offer me any job? Like, I didn't even apply. It was just like things like a miracle that happened. And I just didn't want to believe it. It took me good 2-3 days to just sit in it and be like, are you sure? And when we started conversation through email, that's when I'm like, oh yeah, this is real. This is real. It seems legit. And then I started that job. When I started the job, someone called me from the company and they asked me, hey, can you they introduced themselves, and I introduced myself like, yes, I'm a graduate of this sector, like closure and remediation thing. They called me and they were like, oh, I need this map. I need this to be done by the end of the day. I need this bunch of lists. And mind you, that was my first day. And first time doing like environmental actual engineering work. And I just I don't know any of this. I know maps, but maybe Google Maps. Like I don't know anything. And then I just had my moment where I went to the bathroom and I was just looking at it. I'm like, can I actually do this? And then the voice came from inside. Look, I've managed this bar. I think I can do it. I just need some time. Prayed on it a little bit and gained that confidence back. Have a chat to myself. Went back in there, had a chat with Matt was my supervisor. Matt is still my supervisor. I had a chat with him, like, can you help me to get this thing sorted? And since then till now, and I'm still in the company. So that's my whole story in terms of these jokes that I had. But all of them started with this thing that needed to be ignited inside to be like, yes, I didn't have confidence to do this. Yeah. And in the end, I loved all of these jobs. I achieved something in there. I made connections that I'll never forget. I'm still have those connections with me. I still make them. Like it's a really good feeling. Like coming from that culture where we know it's a community, right? In India, Indian culture is all about community. We all feel things together. We all celebrate things together. And here it was all separate. But when I was within the company, we celebrated everything together. Like with the Department of Ag and Fisheries, we celebrated people leaving. We welcomed people coming to the teams, seeing Bertha, BAC as well. Everyone in me by the end of it. And they still, whenever we meet, cross paths in Toowoomba, they still like, hey, how you doing? Can't believe you. Like, it's still there. And now with that, and Jenny, like yourselves, there's a connection.
It was such a strange feeling, because I've seen people leave the company and then come back and things like that. And everyone is like, oh, like, if that's what's good for you, like, happy for you to go. And, if you're coming back, like, happy for you to come back.
Yeah.
Because that's something that I had not seen before. Definitely not back home. And when you're leaving, there's this, oh, where is she going? Yes, this person going here and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, like, I've had a chance to work with you and I know how hard you work and how many and how passionate you are about your job. How do you find yourself burnt out sometimes? And how do you just try to kind of balance things and bring yourself back up and not make this whole thing your identity?
Yeah, that's a hard one. So first time I felt burnt out was actual burnt out was this year. And that was due to this accumulated things that happened in personal life as well, plus the work. Plus I felt like I was not in control of anything. Like for example, the health stuff, when it happened, whatever happened, it was not in my control. I just could deal with what's happening at that moment rather than thinking about the past or the future. Same with the work as well. In my heart, I know that I do everything. I take pride in what I do. I do. Yeah, a lot of pride in it. And I don't shy away telling that to somebody like, look, I have done this work. I'm really happy with this work and the outcome of it. But the burnt out was, I think it was more so when everything started happening together, I just didn't know how to control anything. And after going through that phase, having a chat with multiple people around me, just being open about it and what I really feel. And it still took me a good month and 2 months. Maybe it's still going. I don't know.
You seem like a spiritual person.
Yes.
And allow me to bring your trip. Yes, to bring up that trip that you had. And you said you have a guru. Yes. That which I find interesting. Yeah, that do you want to tell me a bit more about that? And and insight as well.
Yes. Yes. Uh, I was never a spiritual person. I was not even a religious person. Um, my dad's theory was just do your karma, which is do your work, and whatever the result will come out of it, that's yours to live with. So if you do good karma, you get good result. If you don't do good, then you don't get good karma as well. That was my all life kind of practice for a long time. But my mom is really religious. Like she'll spend an hour doing prayers in the morning, hour doing prayers in the evening. She'll do fasting. She'll do basically everything that's required religiously. And then I met my husband. And he has such a beautiful soul. He is spiritual. Now, he has done studies of, science and engineering. And then he was a bit biased because it's like, well, science says this. Science, like, it has gone to atom and really, really small particles and everything. But the spirituality, that doesn't even explain this. So he actually went through that phase of life where he was looking at science and maths and saying that if that making sense. But during that time, he was not religious or spiritual. And then he suddenly I think he read some books as well, because we have a really famous book, Mahabharata. And then he started reading that. And if you take that book and read it, it'll be like, oh, it doesn't make no sense. But if you...
Is it like Holy Scripture? I'm sorry, I didn't...
No. Yes, yeah.
Is it something like that?
Yeah, it's Holy Scripture. And in the front page that you see is God, who is the character. And then there is this person who is sitting and who is killing. And the people who are getting killed are his own families, relatives, teachers. And they have horses, 5 horses. But the whole idea of that is the 5 horses are your 5 senses. And when God is sitting there and trying to navigate where the horses are going, is God sitting in your heart, navigating where you are going with your senses. And the guy who's killing who is dealing with the issues or problems or whatever is happening in the world or material world, right? That guy represents your body or yourself. So then he started reading that book, and then slowly we both started talking about it. It took me a while to understand, not taking words literally. Like, for example, if you look at it, like, oh, okay, it's just God helping some guy killing something. It's not that. It's much more and beyond that. It's something to live your life, base your life on. So you live lightly. Of course, there are so many problems. Of course, we have all these materialistic things, and the family and relatives that it represents is anything. It's your friend. It's the emotion that arises. You may have some sisterly feelings with somebody, but something happened. Now that feelings have all gone, it has turned to something really ugly. How do you deal with that? What happens then? So it's living the life like that. Anyways, it was a couple of years that we started talking about spirituality and what it means. He initially got approached by our dear friend named Suraj. He approached him and he's like, hey brother, I just wanted to say hi. And mind you, Shiva's name, in socials, is not in English or Hindi. It's in his own language, Tamil, which you can't really type from the keyboard and search for somebody. Right? So yeah, it was, first it was coincidence. I'm how did that person even know? How did it work? Because his name is not in English. If you try to search him on Facebook, it won't come up. And then he started talking about certain things. And because Shiva was reading this book, and you see, he's just started talking about the book, and this is where you think he is. And in my head, I'm like, man, there is someone wanting your money. Don't be going in that path. Don't be doing this. They're scamming you. They're scamming. Something is happening there. With no money, no nothing. And now, every time we talk to those couple, we have tears in our eyes. Like our heart longs to meet them. We want to be with them. They want to be with us. Like every time we are chatting and we are talking, it's all about spiritual growth on both ends. It's all about like looking all of this as an illusion. It's a really good question when I get into spirituality.
Yeah.
The question is, who are you? Right? And you start answering it. And initially, when someone asked me this question, they're like, who are you? I said, well, I'm Dhriti. It's funny. And then they're like, well, that's your name. But who are you? And then it just keep going. And then more you try to answer, like the layers of material, like goals or material names that I've collected. I'm Dhriti. I'm an environment engineer. I'm a wife. I'm a sister. My dad's name is this. But none of that is me. All of that are these accumulated bondages that I have. And in the end, when you finish answering that question, is where you are lying. Like you're there. That's it. You have met yourself, the true self. Anyways,
And I'm asking the question because I think obviously it's kind of influences how you show up as different versions of yourself, including one.
yes.
And how do you think that kind of influences your persona or who you show up as?
Yeah, look, initially in earlier years when I had this job, any job that I had in Australia, I was very grateful because it was money. I always wanted money. I got out of family, like my parents, they invested their blood and like, not literally blood, like, all the, for example, money that they had, properties that they had for me to get an education. And when I did get that, I feel like in their head, they're like, oh, our kid is out there.
So proud of
Yeah, we're so proud of her. And now she can help us to get from out of our state, whatever state that was. And then when I was here, when I got the job, I'm like, yes, oh my gosh, I got it. That was the dream. That was a family dream, just not my own dream. Now I'm in it, and now I keep going. Like, this is it. I'm earning for them, not for me. And that was a realization that happened when that burnt out stage happened. So up until that point, I was earning for my family. So if someone would come and say anything, right, anything, it didn't matter. Because for me, pursuing that money or pursuing that job or the love for the job didn't come out of greed or anything. It was for some other person, for my parents, for somebody else. And that's why I had to keep going. At that moment, when I thought of just leaving the work, leaving everything, I'll live for myself now. That's when everything just started going a bit wrong, because then the ego and pride came, right? Then there was like, oh, I have done so much for so many people. Now I have to do it for myself. I have to spend like $5 on myself. But here's the thing, like I didn't spend $500 on myself and I won't be happy. But if I go and spend that on my parents and like give them a gift or give my husband a gift, I feel so happy. I feel content.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the feeling, the love that I have for people, it's something else. And that's what keeps me going on. So when I was self-reflecting on the decisions that I've made during that burnt out period, I'm like, I forgot all spiritual knowledge that I had till that time. Because up until that, it's the game that we all are playing. It's a illusion. This whole world is an illusion, right? So doing work is me not doing anything. Like, for example, if I'm doing it, if the work is being carried for my parents, for my husband, then the actual person who is doing it is that motivation. If there's no motivation, then this body can be used for anything. That, oh God, you do this, do that. But the spiritual knowledge went out. That motivation went out. The self came, oh my gosh, I need to feel this. For example, health stuff that happened. Oh, I'm in a vulnerable position right now because of that. Why is no one giving me any attention? Yeah. But that's all like me, self-absorbed. I know everyone needs that time a little bit to process with their own things. But I feel like when the burnt out stage happened, the mind went super strong and it just went 180 degrees negative towards my own self. Yeah. I forgot what really was. I forgot what I was really doing, why I'm actually doing this work. And it just went out. And that's why when I thought of leaving the work, the emotions came, like the crying came, because it felt like I'm breaking down.
If I had felt the same way,
It felt like, oh my gosh, what happened? Like, it feels like I'm going away from a family. But I really didn't want to do that. And in spirituality, it's all about like the mind. Mind is not real, right? There's no place you can point the mind. It's not an organ. But it can be your biggest friend and biggest enemy at the same time. And like all that work, that's just to tell you, man, it'll take ages up until this mind becomes your friend.
yeah. And speaking of like some of the difficulties that you experience, what are some of the things that you took back and how you handled them and that I come out of that?
Yeah. So with my personal experience, and I have been sharing with my other girlfriends as well, and their comment made me look back and reflect on that a little bit. So for example, if something happened in a health wise, I always have gone, oh, that's okay, it's just part of life. It just happens. Things happen. It's just part of life. Surprisingly, the doctor who did surgeries and whatnot, when I went back to her and she's like, are you okay? I mean, are you okay, Koshi? And I was like, yeah, I'm okay. It's just part of life. It happens. But it didn't happen then. It happened after 2 months of all that surgery or all that trauma the body went through. After 2 months, it made me realize like, oh, I lost something. Right? Even with work. It was, yeah, it's like, yeah, it was like, oh, it happens. It's fine. It's part of life. Life is never smooth. It's always up and down, up and down. If you want to be smooth, be a monk. Go and stay forest. That'll help you make it smooth. That was not easy, fellow. Yes. I think that practice may be more easier because you're away from this material world. But when in material world, having the balance in between the spiritual self and the material self is really important. And at that time, I think I was masking it. Yeah. Because I felt like, yeah, this is part of life. Yes, theoretically, it's part of life. It is. But as long as mind is involved, as long as feelings and emotions are three things, mind, emotions, and feelings, none of them have a place in the body. It's not a physical entity that you can touch or anything. It's your neurons. It's everything else but an organ. And all of these things play such a big factor in life, like where it needs to be going, what's happening, how I need to feel, who is good, who is bad, all of that. Now that I put back, I am proud of one thing, of talking all of this out loud, reaching out my friends, reaching out my partner. Because before that, women and men are really different. And I found that out in a, I don't know how to explain it, but the men and women are different.
Yeah, no, they are. Yeah, I agree with you.
I have a husband. And if something happens, if I break a leg right now and go, I'm like, oh, I'm okay. For him, I am okay. Yeah, but if I go and talk to a woman or a friend, my girlfriend, anyone of you, if I come and tell you, oh yeah, I'm okay, you keep checking it and checking it. No, right? Yeah. But once you tell a man, like, oh yeah, she's fine, she's good. Yeah, right? So, all the experience that has happened till now, they have improved the way I think, the way I perceive life, and also way I be with all the friends and all the people around me. I'm a big believer of community.
Yeah, and you too. I like talking to people because that's the kind of space where I come from as well. Yeah. And they all are celebrate together.
Yes.
We cry together.
Yes, we're all together, whatever it may be. You know more about other person than you know about yourself, and then like you're living, and you're improving because they are improving. And, you know, they all uplift you so well and put you up right there. But like even after all that, because there's a lot of good things to be shared with people, right? And now you're in Australia. And it's very limited people I can share all that information with. Like I would be open with my mom and mom-in-law, my sisters, cousins, neighbor sisters, neighbor aunties, uncles, whatever. You did in here, it's me and my husband. And it has taken me a good time to understand where we both are safe and where I need to work on myself to tell him like, look, I don't feel right about this. And I just want you to, sometimes I just want to vent. Like all of the women. Yeah. And men with experience, they know that. They're like, do you want me to listen to you or do you want me to provide you a solution? I'm like, I want you to listen to me attentively without looking at your phones. And do not give me any solution. Just listen.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something that I relate to as well. And something that I'm trying to be patient with my someone as well. Because I was having a conversation with a friend the other day and I was like, look, like when I look back all the friends that I got back home, these are people I've known all my life, right? They grew up in my neighborhood. I went to like high school with them. And like I've got some work friends too, but like relationships take time. And you've only been in Australia 3 years. I've been here 3 years. I'm like, I've got to be patient and keep it telling. Like it's not, it's not just something like, and it just happens. So I get that.
But know that your true self, that cultural self, that when you're around people, they know. They know it. For example, when you came to the team, I reach out to everybody anyway, but it was up to you to maintain that conversation and get in touch and remain in touch. So that's something that comes with us. Like we bring it with us. We don't leave it back in India or back in Uganda or anywhere. Like all those good qualities that we think that make us, it's always with us. And you tend to attract those kind of people.
Yeah. So you said men and women are different.
Yes.
And I agree with you. Yes. And I'm also interested in what your experience has been like. Because I know that engineering is a very male-dominated field. Do you feel like you're like, I'm sure you found yourself first like that only woman in the room.
Yes.
And like, are there anything like you would want to talk about or any challenges with regard to that experience?
Yes. Again, I did a lot of self-reflection and I usually do self-reflection like when things come up in my mind, like why would that come up and what's the reason behind it? So I do feel one thing, but I'm not sure if it's just because my background is from India or I'm a woman. I don't know where to place it exactly. Yeah. But sometimes, for example, if we have a new problem, new client side problem, and we're working on it, the way my brain works is very different to, for example, a male CA engineer or a male engineer who's working in the same team, same level, same everything, same experience. But the way that they tackle the issue or the problem is different. Initially, that made me feel like, oh, I'm incompetent. Because why didn't I think that way? Why didn't it, that knowledge didn't come to me? Why did my brain didn't pick up? Like, maybe, why is this issue not getting recognized? Maybe I'm not experienced enough. And it did make sense when I was a civil engineer, but why is it happening when the person on the same level is going through the same experiences, have same everything, dealing with same client, having the same issue to resolve? So am I. But how come they're thinking about this particular problem in this way? And why I am not picking that up? And there was a lot of sitting within that thought and emotion. When it gets too loud and too crowded in my mind, I write. Correct? And I divide it down. And I think the question of being, or the answer of being like, oh, am I incompetent to that problem? That was not true. Like, I found out, like, no, that's not true. Because incompetency in engineering means I'm not able to solve a basic problem. I can't put problem in the simple English language. Then I thought maybe it's the study, the education that I had, background like in India. And then I don't think so, because I've been in Australia for 10 years. After that, I got engineering degree. After that, I got experiences. In the end, I just think male and females, they have different mindset and how they tackle the problem. But no one is incompetent. No one is. It's all the game of the mind. Because when I do think, like, for example, if someone else has come up with a solution and now they just know the solution, they don't know how to work it out or how to explain it. Meanwhile, if I look at that, I'm like, oh, it's so easy to explain and it's so easy to work it out and write some bullet points. And this is how you explain it. So that part is easier for me. Maybe the solutions are not coming because experience, lack of experience, maybe, they have more exposure talking to other people. Maybe they had a chat with the principal engineer. Maybe they initiated the conversation, which I don't know. So I think it's the game of mind. It's always the game of mind. Mind makes you feel, question arises in the mind. It makes you feel incompetent. It makes you feel confident. Yeah. It makes you feel like best person in the world. It makes you feel like the worst person in the world. But I do agree that there are two different mindsets that are working, but both of them have their own particular powers.
Yeah. I think, I think I agree with you when you say that. And I also find that for a lot of the women that I've talked to, there is some sort of imposter syndrome or some sort of questioning yourself. And a lot of times, like you say, sometimes you're not even sure if it's because you're a woman, or it's because you're new to the company, or if it's because it's just a new environment. And when you find yourself kind of thinking that, oh, I don't know if I'm good enough, or I don't know if I'm competent, like, what does that look like in your head, and how do you kind of talk to yourself to just say, it's just my mind. Yeah, it's not that.
Every morning when I wake up, I remind myself I'm the conscious. Right? I remind myself that I'm not mind. So relating myself to the mind when it's calm is not a thing. Relating myself to the mind when it's in its things, in its dance, it's not me. Like, ultimately, that's not me. The game that we are playing is this engineering back and forth between the material world and me to survive. The job that we do is just means of living. And I remind myself every day. So when it does happen, and believe me, it happens a lot. It happens when I look at the problem and I question, like, why didn't it happen? Why didn't I pick it up? And it's not the feeling that I get through it is like, oh my God, my confidence is gone now. Right? On it. I don't feel good. Like, what am I still getting paid for? Am I still an engineer? All the questions come through, but when you sit with those questions, you go through that, just remind yourself where you are right now versus where you were 20 or 10 years ago. I tend to, sometimes I do mess up words in English, and the statement that I want to say doesn't come out right. And I feel like sometimes I get misunderstood. And it takes me a while to like keep explaining to people what I'm trying to say. Sometimes, like in terms of engineering field or emotions of personal feelings and whatnot. That time I just remind myself, look, I know 5 other languages.
Sure. Right, yeah. I am more than just being an engineer or like being part of this conversation that's making me feel stupid. I'm not this. There's so much other things.
And then just confidence just comes back.
Yeah.
But you're right. When it does come, it comes in a second. It doesn't go in a second. It stays. It lingers there. It just sits there. It keeps reminding you like, oh, what? Like, are you not good enough? But it's all about mind. And mind is not real. That's where I keep going back to. And that's the question about you and spiritual journey. And that really ties in together. Because it's the way, it's a tool that I use to live life without any attachment. Yeah, it's a hard one. Like,
but we try. But when try, everything is hard. But I try and you keep trying.
keep trying. Like, for example, this burnt out may happen in a different scenario in another universe. Who knows? Right? To be able to go back, I'm done. I don't want to work, to go like, hey, can I work, still work here?
Yeah. We're going to do like 5 questions.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can go into a bit of detail or a little bit of it, whatever you prefer.
Yep.
Yeah. So what's a common engineering myth or stereotype that you want to debunk?
For a woman,
Whichever.
whenever, for example, I'm going out for a coffee and they ask me, oh, hi, where do you work? I'm like, oh, I just work in this company. What do you do? Oh, I'm an engineer. And they all go like, oh, you must know, smart. Yes. And I'm like, no, I'm making stupid mistakes. I put in calculator what's 20 plus 20 to confirm myself if I've done the right thing or not. So it's people think being in engineering is like really smart thing or whatnot. It's I think when you're in the field, when you're in there, you work it out no matter what. Because for me, someone who is a police is a really smart and a really strong person. They have to be emotionally strong, physically strong. I'm like, I don't know how you work that out. But I guess when someone is in there, they work it out.
What would you say to someone who is generally thinking about engineering?
I'll say if you're thinking about it, give it a go.
Nice.
Because if it doesn't work out, doesn't matter. You have not lost a life. Yes. If you think about engineering, but you're like, it's too hard, it's too this, you won't know until you step into it. I would have been anything but an engineer, right? Not doctor, though I don't have a heart for that stuff. But I would have been, but until or unless I stepped into the engineering field, it's easy. Most of time, it's common sense. Other times, people say like it's about remembering theorems or formulas or anything. Like I told you, I still look in Google for slope percentage formulas and stuff. But if your heart says, and if you're thinking about anything, not just engineering, anything, do it. Only one life. This is the only life that we have. And you don't want everybody, oh, I wish I would have done that. No, do it. Do it without any restrictions. Do it as a free mind. Like, put your 100%, 120% in it and just do it. Yeah, I wanted to eat like seafood platter. I went and I did it. I don't want to do it again, but at least I've done it. Now I can say, nah, I'm good, thanks. I've enjoyed that thing.
Yeah. Thank you so much for honoring the invite. I appreciate also. Of course. You drove to be here. I don't take that for granted, and yeah, I'm grateful. And I also keep saying that, like, it's a podcast about engineering, but it should be a podcast about life.
Yes.
Because this is just like one section, yeah, of our lives and stuff. And thank you so much for sharing all of that, Lynn. Yeah, and I look forward to having you again.
Yes.
When I have proper fancy Myers plan.
And I will do like spiritual tops in the
Yes, Israel. Yes. Yeah, well, thank you so much.
Nuggets, anything, man, anything.
And until next time, thanks for watching.